everyone, and welcome back to Royalty Soaps. Today is day 1 of the Secret Soap series, so this is the first soap. There's actually a hint to go with this soap. This is the only soap that I have actually created before, and I'm going and kind of redoing it. I'm not going to tell you what that soap is. However, if you go and look on Facebook through my photos, you will be able to find it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And here we are. I have already mixed up my soap batter because in my opinion that's the most boring part of soap making to watch. And I'm going to split my batter into 3 equal parts. And by 3 equal parts I mean I'm going to eyeball out 3 equal parts. And I never measure anything. That's just my style. So in this bucket, this blue one, I have some ultramarine blue and I have some neon blue. The ultramarine blue is from Wholesale Supplies Plus. The neon blue is from TKB Trading. In the red, I have some red 30, not red 40, red 30. And a little concoction of my own. I really just fumbled that word pretty good there, didn't I? And yeah, and then I'll be putting titanium dioxide in the middle. I shall now be adding the titanium dioxide and water. I always get the water soluble kind. Personal preference. It's also cheaper. Kinda get the bubbles out of my stick blender there. And there's the white. I never overmix the white because it thickens up faster than everything else. Now for the red. And now for the blue. Now I have to rinse my stick blender off because the fragrance oil that I'm putting in does have to be stick blended. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but this one does. I'm having to mix the fragrance oil as I pour it in. That ought to tell you something if I'm having to continue to mix it. So there's the white, there's the red, there's the blue. Looks like a lot of fragrance oil, doesn't it? Again, that ought to tell you something. Now I'm gonna mix them up. Now for the inside, I'll be doing a rather sloppy, oops, sorry, just gonna reach across there. Sloppy tiger stripe. My batter is getting a little bit thick, and that's why it's going to be rather sloppy. I very much do not want this to mix a whole bunch. I really want the colors to be very bold. Well, I guess it's too thick to do a tiger stripe, so apparently I will not be doing that. Oh, it's so good to be flexible with your soap designs. Mainly, the main point that I wanted for this was just to have these colors and to have them very separate. The design on the inside mattered but little to me. So we are back. I have filled everything up as you can see here, and I will just be piping. And I'm using a rather big tip. I don't normally use this tip, but it's a special occasion, so I thought I'd bring it out. Somebody asked me the other day how many tips I have. I counted and it was around 55, I believe. That's quite a few tips. I have tried out most of them. Some of them I haven't, but most of them I have. I definitely like larger tips for doing piping on the top, just because you have to remember whenever you're piping loaves that you're not going to be seeing or selling the whole loaf. Now I know some people do. I know some people do sell them by the loaf and then people display them. But if you're not doing that, then it's just individual bars, really. So you're kind of having to think about what each individual bar will look like after you've cut the soap. And I just find that I like them better with the bigger piping tips. Of course, to each his own, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. That's just a personal preference. Have you figured out what this soap fragrance and such is yet? Have you looked? Do you know? I can't wait to see all of the guesses. That is one of my favorite things about the Secret Soap series every year, is seeing all of the creative guesses that you guys come up with. Holy smokes, like some of you just have the most creative, imaginative brains I have ever seen. I also really love how this looks like ice cream. That's one of my favorite things about this tip, is that it totally looks like an ice cream cone, like the kind that you get at Chick-fil-A where they're all like swirly and really tall. Yum. Oh my gosh, I think I'm hungry. I have an addiction, an absolute addiction, there is no other word for it because there is nothing else it could be, to microwave popcorn. Not like kettle corn or cheesy popcorn, nothing like that. I mean like just the regular old microwave popcorn. I have like super fond memories of that. My dad used to make it like all the time, and then my mom got all healthy and wouldn't let us buy it anymore because we had to like do healthy popcorn. Oh my gosh, I went through withdrawals, but now I'm old enough to buy my own unhealthy popcorn. And I definitely try to keep it in stock here at Sudsington Palace. I don't know what made me talk about that. Mainly it's because I'm trying so hard not to talk about the design that I'm doing. I'm just trying to distract myself because I so bad want to tell. Any of my really close friends will tell you I am absolutely horrible at surprises. I will tell you what your birthday present is before I give you your birthday present. It's really bad. I have got to break that habit, but I normally just get so stinking excited I just can't contain myself. So it's all I can do not to just blurt this out to you guys. It's so, I don't know, it's just one of those things. Now I honestly thought about lining my piping bag with sort of a red color, but every time I think about putting oil and whatever color it is down the sides of the bag, I always just end up doing kind of a mica oil drizzle instead, mainly because the colors don't mix as bad when you do that. And I really like my colors to stay very vibrant, as you guys know. So that is one way to do it. I could have like kind of mixed it up and put it down the sides of the bag and then put the piping over that. But again, I wanted the lines to be very, very harsh, very pigmented, very contrasted. So I just decided to do a mica drip instead. So now I'm just putting on the mica drip, and I was asked the other day what I like to do as far as mixing goes, like how much oil and how much mica. And I normally do about 1/4 of a teaspoon of mica and 1.5 teaspoons of oil. And the oil that I normally use is sweet almond oil because it's very runny, but olive oil will work just as nicely. That's just a good consistency I found for still keeping the mica very pigmented. And also having it runny, because if you don't put enough oil, it will be sort of, it just gets really kind of clogged a little bit. It doesn't run as smooth. So I'm using the exact same colors on the top here as I used on the inside. It's the exact same colors for the red, and then for the blue I'll be using the Klein blue from Nurture Soap, which is a shiny version essentially of like an ultramarine blue. That's what it looks like to me anyway. It's a little bit darker, but not a whole bunch. And I'm going to be very careful where I place these. As always, I try not to let my mica drips overlap because then they kind of mix and they don't stay the color you originally intended for them to be. They turn into whatever color those two colors mixed up is. And so this would be purple if these mixed, and I really don't want purple. So all in all, that took about 8 minutes to complete. Obviously, not everyone that I know who does a mica drip like that is as careful, and that's certainly just a personal preference type thing, but if you don't want the colors mixing, you do have to be careful. So now I'm putting some cosmetic glitter on top. So now I'm putting the embeds on, and the embeds I am using today are teapots and teacups. And there you have it. This is what the finished bar looks like in the mold. I hope you have enjoyed the making of it, and I will be back tomorrow to cut it. And here's what the sides look like. As you can see, it looks really pretty and festive and fun, and yay, whimsical colors. And my good people, we are back the next day. The soap has turned out splendidly. Look at that red. Woo! Okay, so I'm going to set this out just a little bit, as I do with all of my soaps that have unusually high tops. And then I'm going to get everything in alignment so that nothing gets cut. And my bars are still relatively soft, which is nice, makes the cutting easy. Whoop! And then this is what they look like on the inside. I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, it's orange. Well, it won't be orange for long, dearie. It won't be orange for long. That's just kind of what that color looks like when it hasn't been exposed to the air yet. But once it has been exposed to the air, it'll look just the same as it does on the sides here. I'm ecstatic with how these turned out. They're absolutely perfect in my opinion. They're exactly what I wanted. But this one I had an idea, and I stayed with the idea the whole time. Again, the whole point was for me to have the colors. That's really what I wanted. The inside design didn't matter much to me, but I'm very happy with the way it turned out all the same. I hope you guys have enjoyed the first video of the 2015 Spring and Summer Secret Soap series. I had a lot of fun making it, and of course I will be revealing another piece of the puzzle at the end of the video. So if you enjoyed, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.